Morning, everyone. Welcome to today's webinar. I'm just going to give everyone a quick chance to log in before I get started. So just bear with us a second. Okay, so it's looking like most people are logging in now. So thanks for joining us this morning. Welcome to today's webinar. My name is Rachel Sharpe. I am the social media executive at Forever's UK head office. And I've also been working in social media for sort of the past 4 or 5 years. So hopefully I'll have quite a few tips and tricks up my sleeve for this webinar to help you with your businesses. So today's webinar is going to be all about using Twitter and Instagram for your business. If you have any specific questions sort of as we're going, feel free to drop them in the Q&A and we'll kind of answer them as we go. Because of time constraints, obviously today I can't go through everything, but if I sort of touch on anything that you think might make a good future webinar, if you're interested in something, then obviously again feel free to let us know, and we might be able to look into making another webinar about that in the future. But yes, let's just get started. So why use social media, first of all? So social media is a great alternative way to communicate with your customers. It's a cost-effective form of advertising. So, you know, if you're printing lots of brochures and flyers, that can get quite expensive. If you're traveling to a lot of places, that can get quite expensive. So what you'll find with social media is it's completely free to set up an account. So it's a very cost-effective method of reaching a lot of people. Obviously, you can drive traffic to your shop. You can add sort of links to your website in certain places on Twitter and Instagram. You can showcase your lifestyle, which is, of course, showcasing that you're a product of the product and things like that. You can drive brand awareness and build brand identity. You can deliver a high level of customer service. So a lot of people are trying to get in touch with brands via social media for their customer service needs. So you can actually get back to people very, very quickly. Using social media, you can increase the trust between you and your customers because you're building a community, and obviously you can strengthen relationships as well, again, because you're kind of building a community, and you can literally speak to people real time on social media. So if we quickly take a look at what the modern consumer kind of expects from their time online. So they use multiple devices for different stages of the purchase cycle. They're in control. So if they follow what they want to follow and they unfollow what they no longer want to follow. So they're completely in control of what they're sort of consuming. They're time-starved and impatient. So, you know, they want short, snappy, quick bits of content. They look for social proof. And by that, I mean they kind of look for positive reviews from other people to kind of showcase, you know, that the product that they think they're buying is actually worth it in other people's eyes. And also, I mean, for me personally, if I see a brand, the first thing I do is look them up on social media because I want to see that they've got a good social media presence before I invest in them. That is the modern consumer. So they want extreme simplicity. They're all individuals, so you can't just mass target people. You need to sort of understand your audience and target to them individually. They expect round-the-clock support and they expect it really quickly. And if you listen, they will give you your strategy. So you'll see what's performing well, you'll see what's not performing well when you measure your performance, which we'll come to in a little while. So really quickly then, why use Twitter? So Twitter is sort of fast-paced and concise. It's got a limited amount of characters. So when you share your message, it's quite short and snappy. And the character limit at the moment is 280. It's easy to connect with your audience. You can reach a wide audience using hashtags, which we'll talk about in a bit. Information moves really, really quickly on Twitter. So you need sort of eye-catching, enticing content. You can share quick thoughts and messages, and you can sort of tie those in with trending topics as well. It's a great way to drive traffic to your website or shop because you can share links. You can build quality relationships. You can use polls to drive interaction and get opinions from your audience. It's an ideal platform to sort of get involved in conversations, and it's more customer service focused as well. So Twitter is a really great place, as I mentioned, for joining trending conversations. And by that, I mean, when you go onto Twitter, if you look on the right-hand side, or if you're using a mobile phone, it's like a little search icon down the bottom, and you'll see a list of trending topics. So you can actually sort of get involved in those trending days, hashtags, things that are going on, and find relevant people within those hashtags to sort of have conversations with. You can reach a large audience really quickly through tweeting and retweeting people who are relevant to you, relevant to your audience. You can have conversations with lots of interesting people. You can keep up to date with the latest news. There's a lot of news on Twitter. It's a really great source for news, actually. And you can share quick thoughts as well. So that's kind of why you would go ahead and use Twitter. And here are a few examples of things that you can post to Twitter really quickly. So product images and descriptions, just to kind of, you know, entice people that way. You could share blog posts, you know, so that people can sort of click towards those blog posts. You can share more fun content. So this is a case of tapping into a trending hashtag, so World Emoji Day. And you can also share videos and tips and tricks as well, like this one here. And it's also worth noting that you can obviously share anything that we share on Twitter just by retweeting it. So if you see something on our channel that you think your audience would like, then you can absolutely share that to your channel as well. So why use Instagram? Instagram is more of a visual platform. It kind of works in conjunction with Facebook. So I don't know if you know, but Instagram is owned by Facebook. So it has a kind of similar layout, similar options on there. And you can also sort of link your Instagram content to go onto your Facebook page if you want to as well. It has a younger demographic. So if you're specifically reaching out to a younger audience, then Instagram is more your place. For sort of the 18 to 25 to 35 year olds, they're more on Instagram than they are on Facebook, say. So you can build your brand and product awareness. You can reach a wider audience with hashtags. There are various ways to post content, which I'll go over in a minute. It's the second most engaged platform after Facebook. So we've actually got a webinar coming up on Friday, which is about Facebook, which might be worth joining as well. But yeah, Instagram is, after Facebook, the second most widely used platform. It's only available to use via a mobile device. It's just something to be aware of. It's a very creative platform, so ideally great pictures and eye-catching content. And it's also a great platform to keep an eye on competitors as well, because you can follow other competitors, other brands, see what they're doing, see if you take inspiration from anything that they're posting. So using Instagram, obviously Instagram posts are a really great way to share beautiful pictures, and you can use hashtags on your post to help more people discover your content. You can't actually post links on each post on Instagram, or you can copy and paste the link, but people won't be able to click it. They're not clickable. So if you ever want to post a link, then you need to post it in your bio, which, if you can see this here, this is kind of where you've got your name and a little bit of text here, and then this is your bio. So when people say hashtag link in bio, what they mean is go find the link here. So yeah, you can use that as well if you wanted to talk about a specific product and then link it in your biography. So Instagram stories are another tool. So that's these things here. They are the things that last for 24 hours, but you can share them to your highlights, which means they'll stay there forever, or for however long you want them to stay there. And they're a great way to stay connected to your audience on a day-to-day basis. You can use stickers, GIFs, and interactive tools on Instagram stories. So that can help you to sort of interact with your audience as well. You've got IGTV, which is just a great place to share video content. And then you've also got the opportunity to do Instagram lives as well, which means you're speaking live to your audience. So that can be really beneficial. So here are just a few examples of some Instagram posts that we've done more recently on our channel, just so you can kind of see what Instagram can look like. Obviously, these are just some posts that we've put up fairly recently when we were doing a bit of a skincare focus. So you can see they're nice images. You know, they usually feature the products in a sort of just an aesthetically pleasing way to kind of draw people in and sort of, you know, make them wonder, oh, what's that? But that's not to say that you can't use Instagram to post about yourself. Absolutely feel free to do so if you wanted to share pictures of your life, of yourself, and things like that. That's the kind of content that people are engaging with as well. And this, I just wanted to showcase. This is on our Instagram page during February, during sort of Valentine's time. And this is just to showcase, again, you can have a little bit of a play with Instagram, and you can split pictures up and make them do things like this. And that can be just quite fun to sort of have a play with. And then I'll quickly show you as well Instagram stories and what I mean by Instagram stories. So here is, for instance, a quiz that we did on our page. So you've got like a little moving GIF here, and then people can click through this. And this was a quiz, so I'll ask a question, and you can sort of say, is it true, is it false? And then it'll, you know, give a little bit of information. And then it's got, you know, these are the things like the stickers and stuff. You can do animated GIFs and things like that, things like questions and answers. This is quite a good one if you wanted to get people to specifically ask you, you know, questions about products. You could put this sticker up. So again, that was a really simple one, just to kind of get people engaged. And then this is an Instagram story of during an event. So this was one of our Forever Experience events back in the days when we were in the manor. So again, this is what I mean when I say it's more sort of real-time content, and you can share what you're doing with your audience in the moment. So it doesn't have to be super fancy and super put together. It can just sort of showcase what you're doing in that moment. And again, you can use the stickers to get people to interact and engage with your content, to ask you questions, to ask them questions and their opinions and things like that. So yeah, that's kind of an example of Instagram stories. So when it comes to Instagram, obviously taking a great photo is really, really key. Same with Twitter. You know, you should be sharing really good photos across both channels. So this is kind of how to take a great photo really easily. You don't need a fancy DSLR camera. As long as you've got a mobile phone, preferably a more recent one, and that will have, you know, a really good camera on the back of it anyway. So you'll be able to sort of use it to take a really great picture. So use natural light wherever possible. So whether that's going outside or if you can't go outside because of the weather or whatever, you can take a photo near a window. What you absolutely don't want to do is go into a room that has no natural light, turn on the ceiling light, and then place the product down on the side and take a picture of it from above with your phone, because it will just cast a shadow on the product. It won't look very nice. So you definitely don't want to do that. You want to go to a nice brightly lit area wherever possible. Be sure to clear the background of any clutter or anything grubby. Sort of just make sure that you aren't capturing the reflection of your phone in mirrors or shiny surfaces or anything like that, just to kind of make it as crisp as possible. You can use the rule of thirds. So if you're not sure how to frame a picture, then you can follow the rule of thirds to kind of frame it in a sort of an aesthetically pleasing way. That's not a hard and fast rule. You don't always have to do it. And if you think you've got another idea for a picture, then obviously feel free to experiment. It can just help if you're really, really stuck, if you're really not sure where to start with taking a picture. The rule of thirds can be really helpful. So in theory, in principle, the rule of thirds is this: it breaks up the entire image into 9 quadrants of equal size. And instead of putting the subject of the picture smack bang in the middle, what you want to do is either put it to sort of the left or the right on one of these quadrants, on one of these lines, sorry. And the absolute best is if you can get the exact subject of your picture on one of these intersections here, which is kind of what's happening in this picture here. The sunscreen is basically here. So that sort of draws your attention onto the subject, and it makes it look sort of more interesting as well. And what you can do as well is you can actually adjust your phone camera settings to show that grid while you're taking the picture, and it won't be on the final picture, but it will help you to sort of line the picture up as you're taking it. So that can be really beneficial if you're not sure where to start with taking photos. Wiping the lens sounds like the most ridiculous advice, but you won't believe how many times you just forget to do it. And if you think about how many times you're picking up a phone throughout the course of a day, you're putting it in your pocket, you're picking it up with dirty hands, you're placing it on down on surfaces with the camera on desk, and it's getting fingerprints on it all the time. And what you'll notice is when you try to take a picture and you've got fingerprints on the back of your phone, the subject or like people and the backgrounds, everything's going to look like it's got a sort of blurry, almost aura around it, and it just doesn't look good. But the simplest, most effective thing is literally just to take a cloth, wipe your lens before you start taking pictures, and instantly the quality of your picture will be improved. So if you don't do anything else, wipe your camera lens. It's really, really important. Make sure your subject is in focus. Again, that's obviously quite important. So to be able to do that on a phone, if it's struggling to focus, is literally just tap the screen where you can see the product, and the phone will just automatically focus on the product. And also take lots of photos. So I know that might sound a little bit time consuming. That is the best way really to get the best photo. You can take it from lots of different angles. Try doing lots of different creative things, and what you'll tend to find is that because if you just take one picture, you might shake your hand while you're taking it, or whatever it happens to be, the phone doesn't focus, whatever it is. So it's worth taking lots of different pictures, and then later on you can pick the best one. So that would be my advice there. Videos as well can be really useful and important on Instagram stories, but again also on Twitter, Instagram posts as well. So to be able to record a great video, again, use natural lighting wherever possible. Try to go outside or film near a window. Bear in mind what's called the golden hour. So if you're filming outside, definitely try not to film in direct midday sunlight, because you'll have shadows cast across your face, you'll be squinting, and also the final product is just going to look really, really bright and not very enjoyable to watch. So instead, try to film an hour or two before the sun sets. That's called golden hour, and everything kind of just looks effortlessly very beautiful. Or you can wait for an overcast day, which is a good way to dim harsh lighting, so then you can sort of go out any time of the day and the lighting won't be too harsh. You should also check your audio when it comes to videos, because obviously if the audio isn't very good, people aren't going to stick around and watch the whole thing. Your phone is very likely have been able to capture really high definition camera footage, but at the moment the audio, the microphone in your phone isn't necessarily the best. So it's worth investing in a microphone if you can. You can get them as cheap as like 10 quid. And you can kind of just plug it into your phone, and then it'll be a little lapel mic. It will just sit on your t-shirt, and that will increase the audio quality. But if you're not able to buy a microphone at the moment, then just try filming sort of without any background noise. So try to avoid filming where there are noisy children, or if you've got a whirring fridge in the background or air conditioner, and try not to film near busy roads and that sort of thing, and that will improve your audio quality. And again, try and invest in a tripod wherever possible. So again, you can get those relatively cheaply. Doesn't even have to be a full sort of standing tripod. It could be one of the sort of desktop ones, and you can just pop it on the desk, and it can just film you from there, and that will obviously just make sure that the video isn't really shaky, which can make it a little bit easier to watch as well. So using forever content, it's really, really important never to use copyrighted content. So don't do a Google search and try and find a picture on there to represent what you're talking about. If you use something without permission, or which isn't free to use, you can leave yourself at risk of getting fined or even getting your social media account deleted. So to protect yourself, you should only really be taking your own pictures. You could also use customer pictures if they've given you permission to use those. You can make your own graphics, or you can use the forever content that we supply. So we create things like this, and these are all available on Forever Knowledge. You can use absolutely anything, and it's exactly the same with our social media channels. You can use anything that we feature on our social media channels on your own channel. That's absolutely fine. So yes, just making sure that you use the right content is really, really important. So hashtags, they're really relevant on Instagram and Twitter. They're a really great way for people to find your content, and you can also search for people potentially interested in your kind of content. So you know, if you know that you're going to be building your business mainly through skincare, you can actually find people who are interested in skincare or experts in skincare, and you can follow those people, and people will start following you back and they'll find your channel. So hashtags on Instagram are a really great way to help people find content. So make sure you tag things that are relevant to the picture that you're posting. And then on Twitter, hashtags can help you get into trending topics, and let you have sort of live and engaging conversations with people. So you can take a look at what's trending and see how you can use it in your own content. So like the example that I showed earlier, when World Emoji Day was trending, we put a social media post out that was literally about World Emoji Day, which meant that people looking within that hashtag are able to see our content around World Emoji Day. And then, yeah, so more people are able to find the content, and you can also interact with people in that trending topic at the time as well. You can also use generic hashtags, so that can help lots of people view your content. So things like Monday motivation, Wellness Wednesday, skincare tips, health and wellness, fitness. You can sort of do your own research around what hashtags are going to work for you. And it's also a great idea to use the forever branded hashtags as well, so people can identify the brand, and also we can see when you've posted using these hashtags, because we follow these hashtags, and if we see content that looks really good, then we will share it on our own channels as well. So that's another way to get a little bit of exposure, because we'll always credit the people that we get those photos from. Social listening. So understanding what people are saying around your industry is really important for creating a social media strategy that's really effective. It allows you to spot gaps, address pain points, and be ahead of the game. So there are lots of freemium tools out there, like Hootsuite, Google Trends, Answer the Public. So if you're, for instance, if you go on to Answer the Public and you type in the words hydrating serum, it will sort of pull up the most frequently asked questions on Google about the words hydrating serum. And what you'll probably get is, what is the most hydrating serum? What is, you know, how do I know that I have a hydrating serum? Those kinds of things. And you can then know that those topics are interesting enough for people to be searching all the time, and that can help to sort of shape your content and what you end up putting out onto your own social media channels. So it's definitely worth looking into these, especially if you're stuck for content. And then also, obviously, social media is about being social. So people buy from people. So it's worth creating those connections and listening to what your audience actually wants. Understanding what your customers want and expect in terms of content and support, that can help to inform your content strategy and obviously help to keep them engaged with your content. And you can post questions, share ideas, and reply to comments. Make sure that you're always replying to comments. So just making sure that you're listening to the people who are engaging with you, so that you continually have that support and that engagement from your audience. So that's kind of social listening in a nutshell. Shortening your URL. So especially when it comes to Twitter, which obviously has a short character space, so you don't want to fill it up with a huge, www.forever.com/blah blah blah blah. It just looks, it's too long, it doesn't look very nice. So if you turn a long URL into a shorter one, that's going to look a lot better, and people will actually be able to see what they're clicking on, and they're more likely to click it. And what you'll find as well is that you'll be able to track your leads, so you'll actually be able to see how many link clicks you're getting, and what kind of content is the most popular. So I would definitely recommend sort of getting involved in either of these. So the importance of a content plan. You might be thinking, all of this sounds like a lot of work. It can be, but that's why a content plan is really important. It just sort of helps to ensure every piece of content is relevant to the audience, because you've researched what they're after and you're planning content specifically for your audience. And it ensures there's a consistent flow of content across your channels as well. So, if you have an afternoon off, doing something else, and you might be like, right, I'm going to focus on social media now, it can be quite tempting to spam your Twitter or spam your Instagram with a load of pictures, but that doesn't perform very well. It's far better for you to think about when you want something to be pushed out to your audience, what time, and you can sort of plan that out, and then you can have a consistent flow. So if you know you want something to go out every single day, then you can plan that, and it's not the case that you don't have anything for a couple of weeks and then you have 20 posts all in one day, because that doesn't perform very well. So again, it makes scheduling content a lot easier. It helps you to move your audience through the sales funnel. If you've never seen a sales funnel before, this is kind of what it looks like. So here, your audience may never have heard of something, or they're just now starting to get an awareness of something. And then from this point, they're sort of starting to develop a bit of an interest in what you're talking about. And then from here, they're starting to make decisions about whether they're going to buy something or not. So having a content plan means that you can literally move people through that funnel, because you can start talking about something that they may never have heard of before. Here are some key points about it, etc., etc., and then eventually you sort of just push them through that funnel into sort of driving an action. And then it's really important, even if you're scheduling your content, that doesn't mean that you don't ever touch your social media again for the rest of the week. It's still worth checking in every single day to see if people have interacted with you, so that you can interact back. And especially the case with Twitter, the trending topics change hourly. So I'm not saying that you need to be on Twitter hourly. Obviously you can be if you want to be, but they do change really, really regularly. So it's worth being involved at least once a day, twice a day, and sort of seeing how you can jump into those trending hashtags. Measuring performance is really key when it comes to Twitter and Instagram. So what you essentially can do is understand how many followers you have, and therefore the size of the community that you have and how quickly that's growing. You can understand how many people are seeing your posts. You can understand whether people are engaging with your posts, and if so, which ones. Do you need to do more of one thing, less of another, that kind of thing. You can understand how many people are clicking on your links. And you can measure performance in a few different ways. So again, there's native analytics tools, which I'm going to show you in a second. There's also freemium software like Hootsuite, which I think with Hootsuite in particular, you can plug in one of your social media platforms and you can manage that, I think, for free or for very small price. And that sort of gives you the ability to be able to schedule and to measure your performance. And then you've also got FLP Social, which you could subscribe to as well if you wanted, which does kind of the same thing. You can schedule posts and you can monitor your performance. So this is how to do it natively on the platform. If you go to Twitter, you'll have this bar at the side, on the left-hand side of the screen. You'll want to click more, and then you want to click analytics, and that will take you to a new page, which will give you all of this information. So it will be how many tweets you've done, your tweet impressions, which is the number of people who have seen your tweet, any profile visits that you've had, any mentions that you've had. So mentions are where people mention you and they're tagging you, essentially. New followers, engagement rate, link clicks, retweets, likes, replies, and you can also see your most popular content, which is really beneficial when it comes to planning your next content, because you can see what's already performed well and what is likely to perform well again in the future. Measuring performance on Instagram. So if you go onto you won't be able to do this on desktop, you have to do it on your phone. If you click onto this, it's also worth mentioning as well that you can only do this if you have a business page on Instagram. So you'll need to set up a business page. That's really easy to do. That will be in your settings. So if you set up a normal Instagram and then you go into your settings, then you'll be able to change it to a business page. But yes, to view the analytics, you'll click on these 3 bars at the top here, and then you'll have insights. And once you're on there, it will tell you things like how many likes your posts have, reach and impressions, profile visits that you've had, so people who've actually visited your main profile, website clicks, follower growth, audience location, audience age and gender, which can be good for targeting. What days and times your audience is on Instagram. So if they're on Instagram at 8 a.m. on a Thursday the most, then you know that 8 a.m. on a Thursday is a great time to post, because they're very likely to see that content. And you can also see how many people have viewed your stories as well, but this information only lasts for 14 days. So once you've posted a story, wait the 24 hours until it's expired, and then you can go into your analytics and you can see how many people viewed your story overall. So quick summary then, social media might not always drive sales directly, but it helps to start a conversation with your customers and ensures that your brand is seen and heard by as many people as possible. You have to be where your customers are, otherwise how do you understand what they want? So yeah, social media is definitely a place to speak with and listen to your customers. That's really, really important. Twitter gives you the flexibility to reach lots of audiences and tap into relevant conversations using obviously the trending hashtags. And Instagram gives you the chance to be creative, create beautiful content, and tap into a younger audience as well. Like I say, that sort of 18 to 25 range, they're the people that you want to reach out to. They're going to mostly be on Instagram probably. So just a few resources then. So on Forever Knowledge, we've got like a guide to digital marketing. We've got a social media code of conduct and a social media best practice guide. Obviously, all of those can be really, really useful for you to just sort of know what you're doing and have a little bit of further reading into this topic. So you can find that at flpuk.info/digital guides. We also do a monthly campaign. So we do that on our own social channels and across all of our digital channels. Basically, we have a monthly product focus, and we sort of we give assets that you can use. We let you know about the competitions that are happening. We let you know about the webinars that you might want to tune into. So you can find all of that information at Forever Knowledge on the business site, and you can go to products tab and then campaigns in there, and that will just show you all the recent campaigns that we're working on. And we try to give that to you in advance of the next month as well, so that you can kind of start planning your content from then. And then we also did a recent podcast around April time, actually a few months ago now. So using social media to build your business. And we spoke with Chris Leathert and Claire Shanks, who are two FBOs who are on social media, and they know how it works and they know how it works to build their business. So their insight is really, really useful to hear. So that's flpuk.info/build business social media. make sure you put the capitals in there, otherwise the link won't work. If you prefer to listen to your podcast on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, you can just search Forever Podcast in Spotify or Apple, and the podcast should show up. You just need to scroll back to this one, using social media to build your business. And then finally, obviously following the Forever social media channels on whichever channels that you choose to use. So on Facebook, it's Forever Living Products UK and Ireland. On Twitter, it's Official Forever. And on Instagram, it's Forever UK. As I mentioned, you can use any of the assets that we post on any of the channels. So yeah, it's definitely worth following there. You can also take inspiration from, you can see how things have performed on our channel and see if anything comes up which might be useful or relevant for your audience, and you can absolutely share any of that content or take inspiration from it. So definitely worth following there. And that is about everything that I wanted to talk about today. So thank you very much for staying tuned. We have another webinar on Friday with me again, and that's going to be more looking at Facebook, so Facebook pages and Facebook groups, specifically around building those up for your business. So if you're interested in that, then definitely tune into that. That will be at 11 on this Friday. If I've touched on anything here which you kind of want a little bit more information on, obviously feel free to let the events team know, and we can definitely think about doing another webinar more in depth on specific topics. But yeah, hopefully you've taken a little bit away from what I've talked about today. Thank you very much for staying tuned, and I hope you have a good rest of the day. I'll see you soon. Bye.